A trembita can be longer than the person playing it, yet it has no keys, no valves, and no finger holes. It is a narrow wooden tube, widening toward one end, built to send a human breath across open mountain space. In the Ukrainian Carpathians, this was not simply a musical instrument. It was a practical voice for communities divided by forests, slopes, weather, and distance. Its Ukrainian name is trembita, written, and the stress falls on the second syllable, trem-BI-ta. The instrument is strongly associated with Hutsul culture in the Eastern Carpathians, although related long horns appear across several Carpathian regions under different names. That wider geography matters. The trembita belongs to a shared mountain world, while its Hutsul forms, signals, stories, and ceremonies develop their own local character. The basic design sounds simple: find a straight spruce trunk, shape it, split it lengthwise, hollow both halves, join them again, and bind the tube with birch bark. But every step demands precision. The walls have to become thin without collapsing. The two channels must meet cleanly. Fresh birch bark tightens as it dries, helping hold the instrument together. A 19th-century Hutsul trembita in the Ivan Honchar Museum was made from spruce and birch bark, and the museum describes a narrow body about 2 to 2.5 meters long before the final half-meter flare. That construction explains the instrument's visual power. From a distance it resembles a tree transformed into a line. Up close, it becomes a record of handwork, the seam between the halves, the winding bands of bark, the small mouthpiece, and the gradual widening of the bore. The Internet Encyclopedia of Ukraine describes trembitas generally as conical instruments between 1 and 3 meters long, while ethnomusicological research records Carpathian examples from about 1.5 to 4 meters, with regional differences. The trembita is played with the lips, much like a natural horn. With no valves or holes, the player changes notes through breath pressure and lip tension. The available pitches come from the natural harmonic series rather than a modern keyboard layout. That means the instrument can make recognizable calls and melodic figures, but its old strength was not a large catalog of tunes. Its strength was clarity. A short pattern could mean something to a listener who already knew the code. The sound is dense, direct, and remarkably far-carrying. The Encyclopedia of Ukraine says it can travel more than 10 kilometers under suitable conditions. In mountain country, however, distance is never just a number. Wind, ridges, trees, and the position of the player all change what can be heard. A trembita call from an exposed meadow can cross space that would take a person a long time to walk. For shepherds, sound became a schedule. Ethnomusicological field research describes signals used to gather people for morning, afternoon, and evening milking, to move herds toward shelter, to announce arrival on a mountain meadow, or to warn of danger to the animals. The instrument did not replace speech by making it louder. It replaced a sentence with a pattern. The listener did not need to hear words, the timing and shape of the call carried the message. This helps explain why a trembita should not be judged only as a concert object. In a hall, the audience asks about pitch, volume, and spectacle. On a polynyna, a high Carpathian pasture, the same sound has a job. It marks where people are. It turns a wide landscape into a shared acoustic space. The mountain is not a passive backdrop, it is part of the instrument's range and meaning. The calls also marked important moments in community life. The Encyclopedia of Ukraine notes predetermined signals for deaths, funerals, and weddings. The Ivan Honchar Museum describes Hutsuls using the instrument to notify the surrounding area of unusual events. Academic research adds a more detailed picture. In Hutsul practice, trembitas accompanied funeral rites, weddings, seasonal pasture movements, and Christmas caroling. Those uses did not all survive in the same way. The scholarly record describes the decline of the old shepherd economy from the end of the 19th century and notes that Hutsul trembita playing on mountain pastures largely fell out of use after the Second World War. Yet ceremonial roles continued, especially in funeral traditions and winter caroling. A living tradition can narrow, move, and change without becoming a museum fossil. The instrument's origin is less certain than many popular summaries suggest. Long wooden horns exist in many mountain and pastoral cultures. The research literature discusses several possibilities for how related instruments spread through the Carpathians, including older Indo-European movements, Roman signaling traditions, and the migration of flock shepherd communities. The evidence does not support one neat origin story. The most careful conclusion is that the trembita belongs to a broad family of long horns whose local forms were shaped over centuries of Carpathian pastoral life. One Hutsul tradition gives the material itself a special history. Ethnomusicological research records the use of Hromovitsia, spruce injured by lightning, for some instruments. In oral belief, that would connected the trembita with thunder, protection, and the force of the sky. This should be understood as cultural meaning, not a technical requirement for every trembita. The Ivan Honchar Museum's construction description centers on straight spruce, skilled hollowing, careful joining, and birch bark binding. Birch bark is more than decoration. Wrapped while fresh, it contracts as it dries. It protects and tightens the joined wooden body, turning two hollowed halves back into one resonant tube. The finished surface may look rustic, but the engineering is exact. A poorly matched seam leaks air. Walls that are too thick add weight, walls that are too thin risk damage. A long instrument magnifies every small error. Playing it also requires more than a dramatic pose. The tube must be supported without sealing the bell or twisting the seam. The lips must start the vibration cleanly. Breath has to stay controlled enough to shape a call, not just produce noise. Because the horn is so long, the player cannot treat it like a trumpet held close to the body. The whole posture is organized around balance, direction, and open space. Today, the trembita appears in festivals, museums, stage performances, contemporary compositions, and demonstrations for visitors. The Encyclopedia of Ukraine notes that it has occasionally entered modern symphonic settings. These new contexts can make the instrument visible to audiences far from the Carpathians, but spectacle tells only half the story. The deeper history is about information, labor, ritual, and the geography of hearing. That is why the trembita remains such a powerful image of the Ukrainian Carpathians. It joins craft to landscape. Spruce becomes a tube, birch bark becomes structure, breath becomes signal, and distance becomes part of a shared language. The instrument does not need many moving parts. Its complexity lives in the knowledge around it, how to build it, when to sound it, what a pattern means, and when silence matters. Imagine the final scene not as a performance on a stage, but as a call released from a high meadow. The note crosses grass, drops into a valley, touches another slope, and reaches someone who cannot yet see the player. For a moment, the mountain itself seems to answer. That is the trembita's enduring idea: one human breath, extended by wood and memory, can make a vast landscape feel connected.